Hey Hebrew fans, this is Todd. So today we're going to talk about how tall should Castle Grayskull be. So I was thinking about the Mattel's Adventure Park and saw the Castle Grayskull they had for the laser tag and thought, oh, that should really be cool, monstrously awesome. And then I saw this picture and I thought, man, that's not much bigger than a Mondo Castle for the 12-inch figures. But then somebody shared with me that that is not the castle for the park. That's actually a 2022 Comic-Con experience in Brazil, which I was really relieved about that. But then I started thinking, how big is that castle and how close was I to is it Mondo size? So I decided to use the ladder in the picture, and I found out the rungs between ladders was approximately 12 inches between each rung. And I decided to double check this by going to my garage, grabbing out my tape measure and checking the rungs between this ladder, and sure enough, it was 12 inches. So now I know between each rung is approximately 12 inches. So with that, let's take this ladder and stretch it out all the way across the full thing, and let's count the rungs in between. Now I just have these arrows here. You can pause the video and count them yourself, but I'm just going to tell you there's 16, plus a little bit more, so 16 and a half feet all the way across. Let's go ahead and do some trig on this. So we're looking at a 77 for our angle and 16.5. And that gives us approximately 16 feet, a little bit more for the total height. So this castle is 16 feet tall. So how big should a Mondo one be? So let's take a look at the different castles. We have 40 foot, 80 feet, 128. Let's use 50 feet for our equation. So 12-inch Mondo figure times 50 feet equals 600. And then let's go ahead and divide that by 6 human feet, and that gives us a 100-inch Castle Grayskull for a 50-foot wall castle. Now let's divide that by 12 to find out that in feet. That'd be 8 1/3 feet tall for how big you need for a Mondo castle with 50-foot walls. Now, so you can see that castles do come in different heights. In fact, the tallest tower is 128 feet tall. So let's take a look. If we had an 80-foot tower, the Mondo castle would need to be 13.6, and a 96 tower would be 16 feet, equal to what we have. So this is approximately 96 scale feet if we were to actually use this one. So how big should my toy Castle Grayskull be anyway? So I decided to go ahead to use AR. So to start with, we are going to use this table here, and we're going to put this figure on there so we can make an AR figure the same size as this figure for our environment. I'm now going to plus files, and we want to use the Color Classics He-Man. Dun, dun, dun. There he is. Now, of course, he's way too big, so we're going to scale him down. Whoop. Now, to see how he looks, we have to put a real figure there. And now I can use this to scale him accordingly. Doot, 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 doot. There we go. Looks like there's a figure standing there next to my other figure. Now, I did not do the best paint job on him, as you can tell. I just kind of threw him in the program to paint him. But now that our action figure's done, let's talk about the castle. So here's an example of a castle. If you take a look at it, it's not like our Castle Grayskull at all. The walls around, everything else. But these centerpieces, they're known as the keeps, and these are more like our Castle Grayskull. So our Castle Grayskull is more like a keep than a castle. So I searched all the internet for different kinds of keeps, and I found this one right here, and it's kind of cool. It's got a giant moat area around, and it's known as Castle Rising, and it's in the United Kingdom. Let's go ahead and go to Google Maps, and let's check this out, and let's have some fun kind of exploring. So by searching on the internet, I found out this castle was 50 feet tall from ground to top. Now that's about the same size as a 5-story building. So that's about how tall this is. Now surprisingly, the Hollywood sign is also 50 feet tall. So for reference, this sign is 50 feet tall. Now a lot of people say, hey, it's not that tall, but 50 feet, that's a 5-story building. I wouldn't want to jump from it. So let's take a look what those numbers mean for 5.5-inch figures and 7-inch figures. So we're looking at 3.6 to 4.2 foot tall castle. For 7-inch, 3.89 to 5.23. Let's use 4 feet for our actual size, and that will fit both sides of figures pretty well. All right, I got my setup, and you can see in my AR, augmented reality, I have my Grayskull right inside there. Obviously, it's not there in real life, but there it is in my viewfinder of my iPad there. And I'm going to aim it on the screen so you guys can see it. You're going to have it mirrored on there, so now you can see as I walk around it. So the goal is to make this thing look like it's 4 feet in size and put it right in between them. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on it. And what I have over here, let me show you, is I have a yardstick. Well, except it's not really a yardstick, it's just a level. And this level right here goes up to 4 feet. So it's 24 on one side and 24 on the other. And then in the middle is 0. So it goes 0, 2 feet one way, 2 feet the other, for a total of 4 feet. So my goal is to make my castle that same size as that yardstick. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's do this thing. So you can see the castle right there. I'm going to go ahead and just start upsizing it. Whoop. Wow, 4 feet is pretty big. There we go. That looks like it's about 4 feet. Let me go ahead and walk around it and adjust everything. So here I am on the other side, and you can see the different castles here. Over here we have the Origins one, and then we have the big giant Mongo one, and then we have the Classics one. All right, let's go and do a quick tour of this whole entire thing, and let's check it all out, because it is pretty cool. So I added some figures in here, and you can see there is He-Man in front of the castle. You can just see how mammoth this is compared to the Classics one on the side. You know, 4 feet is pretty big. And I love this little guy on the side right here just hanging out, chilling on the little porch. Then I put some on top. You can see one's on the roof up there, and I got one up in one of the towers up there. And of course, this is so cool with the AR. I mean, kind of playing at the AR more than looking at the castle. We can go to the whole back. I mean, imagine how cool this would be as, you know, some sort of cool Castle Grayskull. I mean, look how big it is next to the Classics. And especially having it go all the way around. Look at the poor little Origins castle, too, how little it looks next to it. But man, this is such a cool idea to be able to see how big this would actually be and how much room it would take up in your living room. Now, again, it took a while to get this exactly at 4 feet. After the last video, little segment, I kept redoing it, re-bringing the measuring stick in, and eventually I got it exactly at 4 feet to the highest point, and it's pretty cool. So it's just funny. The Classics used to seem big next to this. It'd be so cool, just even to have it just an empty frame. Now, what's kind of fun about this with the AR stuff is you can actually go inside. Let me show you. See, now we're inside the castle. How fun is this? Now imagine having this like a clubhouse for a kid. I mean, this thing's 4 feet tall. You could fit inside here and squash down and play with your figures inside the castle. If there was some way to open the back or something else, that could be pretty cool and quite a lot of room and space in here. All right, let's go ahead and get out of this castle and let's look at the rest of it. And it's just such a cool idea to use this AR to see how big it would be And if somebody builds a castle this big, now there was one kind of like this. It was like some kind of store display. It was like 4.5, 5 feet tall. That would be the right size castle for our classics figures. And I know people think it's crazy to have something that big. He's so cool. But really, that'd be it. Okay, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and I will see you guys next video. Let's go ahead and close out with some cool shots. Cool shots. Good journey, you guys. Bye now.
If you found enjoyment, like, subscribe, and ring the bell.